Hey everyone, this is Sandy. Thanks for joining me. Today's project is a clean and simple, but not too simple, card. I will be using these products. The first one is a circle die set from Ellen Hudson, then a background stamp from Simon Says Stamp, and a die set from Concord and Ninth, but I'll just be using that high word in that die set. All of these products will be linked in the description below, so you can get more information if you'd like. I'm going to start my project by cutting a circle out of my card front panel. This is cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm just going to use this circle. This circle die set comes with tons of circles, and every circle will cut both that circle center and then also a circle frame. So it comes with extra pieces and you can use those in a future project. I love it. I think it's fabulous. Now I'm going to do some heat embossing on this light blue panel. As a tip, if you're going to do this technique at home, make sure that you do your die cutting of your panel first, and then you do your heat embossing second. If you do some die cutting into a panel that's already been heat embossed, you run the risk of getting that embossing powder stuck in the nooks and crannies of your die. One time I did this with red, and I got red all over everything I tried to work with after that. Even though it scrubbed. It's fine. I eventually got it fixed. But just learn from my mistake. Do your die cutting first. Now I use some alabaster white embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. Get my heat tool nice and hot, and that will help to prevent some of the warping that can happen with a heat tool. Heat embossing is one of my favorite crafting techniques. You just use a clear, sticky embossing ink with a stamp. You stamp the image onto the paper and then you sprinkle the embossing powder over it and it sticks to wherever the ink is. Then you heat up the embossing powder with your heat tool and it melts it into place and it leaves kind of a raised and shiny image. It's great. I decided to add something to the bottom of this panel. I felt like it needed an extra something at the bottom. So I pulled out some white string I have, and I'm just going to wrap it around twice at the bottom of this panel. I'm just going to secure it with some tape, wrap it around, and trim off the ends. If you're doing this at home, you could use any sort of thread that you have, string, twine, ribbon, any fibers that you have. This is actually a soft, thin yarn that I picked up at Walmart, and it's inexpensive and you get a ton of it, so it's a great option. After I've got this secured, I'm going to add some foam tape and pop that whole panel up onto my card base. This is a gray heart I cut. I used my Cricut to cut this heart, but you could use any die set, or you can even cut it by hand if you want. This card design is super basic and would be great with any supplies that you already have at home. You could swap that out and put a star in the middle. You could have the cutout be a heart-shaped cutout. Any of those things would be great. Any background stamp you have would work, or you could use a single stamp and then just spread that image throughout the background panel. It would be great. If you want to make this card with all of these exact pieces, you can buy this card as a kit from sandyscards.com. Everything is cut and prepped for you. All you have to do is stick it together, and then you have your own homemade card. Now I'm adding the high die cut. I'm just going to add some small dots of liquid glue, but I got a little extra, so this is a good tip. You can always just tap it off onto some scratch paper to take some of that glue off, and then it won't squish out the sides. The dot of the eye is very small in this die cut, so what I decided to do was just put the glue down first and then pick up that tiny little dot and set it into the glue. Now let's decorate the inside of the card. I always decorate the insides of my cards. I feel like it's a fun present for the recipient. So for this card, I decided to add a gray panel that is the same color as the heart on the front. This color is Fog from Lawn Fawn, and it's my favorite gray. On top of the gray panel, I'm going to add this die cut frame. I cut this with my Cricut out of some white cardstock. I know there are die sets that cut frames. Maybe you have one of those. If you want to have a frame on the inside but you don't have a die set, you could even just use a white gel pen and draw lines with a ruler to make a frame on the inside. I'm going to use some tape runner and adhere this to the inside of my card base, and that's it. I think it turned out great. I love it. Here's one last look at the front and then the inside of the card. Thanks for watching with me today. If you'd like to see more, please check out some of my other videos and visit my website, sandyscards.com, to check out my blog and my shop. Have a great day.